All right. Welcome, everybody. Leanna Martens, your Edmonton real estate agent. I am very excited because we have on Christa Jones from Rose City Professional Organizing today. And I met Christa many moons ago, and she has been growing her little business like gangbusters. And so they are now not just in Edmonton, out to Calgary and all of the surrounding area of Edmonton as well, right? Fort Saskatchewan, St. Albert, Sherwood Park, Devon, all those places.
Yeah.
So today is Decluttering 101. Christa, we are going to talk about prepping to list. And I think some of the biggest obstacles that sellers end up facing when they start, which likely is overwhelm. And then just some really easy, quick tips that they can take away with at the end of this to be able to kind of declutter their minds and be able to take action as easy as possible.
Yeah.
All right. So, what would you say for someone who's completely overwhelmed? Where is the very first place that you would recommend that they start, Christa?
Yeah. So a really great place to start when you're feeling overwhelmed is setting a 15-minute timer, and then picking your priority space and find something that is small, something you can do in 15 minutes that's not sentimental. So we go into the pantry and we throw out expired food, and we find things we haven't opened that may be still good, but we aren't going to use, and we can donate them to the food bank. That's a really great place to start, just to kind of give you some momentum and to make sure you take the before and after photos to give yourself that reminder of like, wow, I accomplished this, and it makes you feel really good. Those little quick wins where you don't have to spend too much time doing something that's too difficult and sentimental can give you that motivation and the quick start and quick win that you need to keep going on harder spaces.
Got it. Okay. What's the biggest time waster that you see people do when they're at the stage of prepping to list?
Yeah, when you're prepping to list, a lot of times you're procrastinating, and that's the biggest time waster, right? You're just like putting it off and putting it off, and we do that because we don't really want to do it. Sometimes it's because it's emotional and you're afraid to leave the house, so you're afraid of change. Maybe you're sad to move and downsize, you're empty nesting, and there's a lot of emotion with that. Or maybe it's just like, this is going to be so much work, and I don't know where to start, and I just feel like too burdened to even get these wheels in motion. So the procrastination happens, and that's the time waster there. And so a lot of times reaching out to a professional for help just gets that ball rolling, and they can help get you motivated and keep you on task.
And that's exactly what you just said. Is the beginning, the first question was, if you're completely overwhelmed, what's the very first place to start? And so you just said basically start with something that's non-emotional, quick wins. So the quick wins is what gets you in the momentum to move forward. So when you move on to the next piece, you're already kind of in action, and you can kind of maybe overcome some of those procrastination and avoidance behaviors that are normal.
Yeah, I heard a really great tip from Mel Robbins the other day, and she says, when you're ready to do something but you don't really want to, count down from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, and just launch yourself into it. And I've been trying that this week, and it's actually working really well. So I'm going to bring that tip here because it is really just about getting started. And sometimes you need help to do that, if it's your own personal self counting down and launching off, or if it's a coach or a friend helping you set a date, have the time committed, have an accountability partner, and get going.
That's an interesting perspective. And that 5-second rule can be applied anywhere. Okay, so if someone's on a tight timeline, so let's say that it's not somebody who is, let's say downsizing, because downsizing is a little bit different unless there is some clear guidelines in terms of time, like I need to be into the home by this time, or right, because there tends to be a lot more openness with that type of move. So then you could probably a lot easier get lost in the overwhelm of it because there isn't the timeline. So if someone's on a tight timeline before listing, what 2 to 3 spaces should they focus on first to impress a buyer?
Yeah, it's very important to focus on the kitchen, the primary suite, if that has, an ensuite closet, the bedroom and the bathroom, and then your garage.
Oh, because why the garage?
Why the garage? Because you have people in situations where they need storage. They want to park the car in the garage. They want to be able to have that space to be able to do their hobbies or their tasks. And a lot of times there's sports equipment involved. There's a lot of activities going on with the family. And a lot of that stuff ends up getting put in the garage. We could say the basement as well, if there's a storage room in the basement. A lot of times these spaces are overlooked in regards to storage, but I know as a professional home organizer, we always try to get our clients to start with the storage spaces like a garage or a basement, so that we can free up space for things that are cluttering the rest of the living areas of the home that maybe don't necessarily need to be there year round, and they could be in a storage space so that your living areas are minimalized and just spacious and feeling a bit more calm and under control.
So you had said kitchen 100% I agree with. And then like main ensuite. So master bedroom.
Yep.
Master
Bedroom, the bedroom, bathroom, and closet of the primary suite. Yeah, that's really essential. That's like you're starting the day and ending the day there, right? So you want to make sure that it's calm, it's in control, you're feeling peaceful there, you're feeling like it's a place where you can go to retreat from the busyness of life and sometimes the craziness of your own house. So that's a priority space for sure.
So when you said the garage, Christa, a lot of times I've been in real estate for a decade, and that's where we'll put it. Like that's honestly the place that typically is going to get overlooked, or a room in the basement, because what we're focused on more than anything is kitchen, living, and then the exterior for sure, and then your main bedrooms. That's what we care about the most. And so lots of times that stuff, it's like no problem, put it there. So if you're saying do the basement or do the storage areas,
I guess, and in regards to what you're saying, in that we are just prepping it for photos, right? And we want it to look good for photos. Yeah, okay. Don't worry about the garage and the basement storage room. That's true. I agree with you in that, because when we do our virtual tour of the home for listing, they're not necessarily going to show those places, but the listing photos, is one part of the process, right? You've got people who need to come in and see the home.
You got showings. Yeah, exactly.
Right. So once you get those people in that home, they're looking into closets and pantries, and they're opening doors, and they're looking.
They are. I see them all the time, and we'll see a garage with stuff packed up. So what is
they're nosy buyers, and that's totally fine. But it's just for them to see the storage spaces and in behind those closed doors that you couldn't see on the photos. Maybe for the photos, make sure that those visible places are clean and tidy. But then you do need to consider for the showings of physical walkthroughs what the storage spaces are looking like.
So then what kind of steps are you suggesting for that? So if the storage spaces, which you would declutter the main rooms, are then decluttered, then where are you going to put all that stuff that they decluttered? Are you suggesting maybe get a pod and put that on the road?
Well, you'd be surprised how much people actually use of what they own. And that's why I call myself primarily a declutter coach and then a professional organizer, because 75% of what we do is helping people let go of things and actually remove them from the home and donate them, which is very difficult to do. It's emotional and it's stressful. And so when you are in the process of thinking about moving, this is the best time to declutter and let go of things you don't actually or haven't used. And we like to do the pre-packing as well when we are declutter coaching and staging to list, because then everything you're not using during that season of the home being on sale is already packed and ready to go when it sells very quickly, because you staged it and decluttered it really great.
That's exactly it. When you do the preparation properly, that seller gets control of their home. They will sell faster and higher every time.
Yep.
100%. All right. What are your favorite 15-minute declutters that make the biggest visual impact?
Biggest visual impact for a 15-minute declutter would be in an entryway, like a mud room where everybody's coming in and out all the time. Things are getting dumped, clothes, shoes, backpacks, purses, things like that. You want to make sure that everything is in that space, very, very tidy, very neat, has a home. Things that don't belong there aren't hanging out there. And make sure that you have the storage solutions in that space. That's a really quick and easy place to do a 15 minutes.
All right, Christa, tell me what storage solutions are. What does that mean?
So storage solutions like your shoe racks, your bins, your baskets, the wall slats on the garage, and the overhead storage compartments up there, your underbed storage. You can slide some bins under there and maximize that space. Any shelving where you can go vertical and get things up off the floor. And then of course cabinets and built-ins if you want to maximize some more.
Right, if you're really going that next step. But the quick wins, are get bins, right? Get storage
bins.
racks because it is storage, right? And then
Yes.
you're maximizing the space. So it's not everything. Lots of times when we move in, if we don't have the skill set, many people, they don't know, they don't have the reference point to be like, I can buy shelving at Home Depot, right? And I can put it here because they can't visualize it. So that sounds like a lot of what you guys are doing with the declutter number 1. And then the organization number 2 is how do you maximize the space once we get everything out? Yeah.
Exactly. And you want to make sure you have the bins for boundaries and containment so that you know what belongs where to find it when you're looking for it. And then also if the bin is too full, maybe we need to go through it and declutter a bit because it's
okay.
flowing
So
over.
I want you to give me your top hack for bins because you're going to be a bin pro. Tell me what kind of bins are the best.
Yes.
And where to get them.
Oh my goodness. I shop at Canadian Tire all the time because they have that great wall of big bins, clear bins, and then they have the small bins. They have the cute hyacinth bins, fabric bins. I love Canadian Tire and their pricing is right. You can get some great bins at Dollarama, but just watch for the quality because you can't return things from Dollarama.
I know. So even though it's cheap, you end up with a bunch of cheap bins that you're not going to use. Okay. So Canadian Tire, I want you to give me what are your favorite types of bins at Canadian Tire for a certain specific type of storage?
Yeah, so it's really helpful to have the clear type bins. So they're the clear view and they come in a variety of sizes and they are fantastic for storage in the basement, in the garage, even just in your bathroom too. Like they have some great size that will fit under the sink and you can use them for kids' toys as well. If you're doing a toy rotation system, they have lids, they have handles and they're clear. You always want to put a label on them, even though they're clear.
That's where I was going. Tell me about the labels. I want you to break it down.
Labels are super important for our brain. They help us recognize it right away. We don't have to think about it. We don't have to try to recall and remember. We don't have to dig through the bin or the basket. We don't even have to take it down off the shelf. If we label very clearly everything that we put in there, it's super simple. And now they even have QR code labels that you can have the app on your phone, scan the QR code, and it tells you what's in the bin. It's great.
Okay, so tell me how big the label is. So if I walk into my garage, I could use a tiny little label like this, but I can't see. So I want you to be specific.
Yeah. So our organizers use the Brother P-Touch Cube Plus, and they have the largest tape size. It's a 24 millimeter width. And so we like to use those in the garage, the basement, and for our seniors who have visual issues with seeing small things. And so those are really great 24 millimeter tapes that we use. And then they have a variety of sizes for tape, but the Brother P-Touch Cube Plus is the go-to label maker.
All right, ladies, every woman that's watching.
Yep, and it's Bluetooth. It has an app on your phone. You can print it from your phone. Yeah, it's great.
So because you guys are printing it, so you design it maybe in Canva and you just print it off?
Nope, we do it right on our phone. There's a little app. We do it right on site. We bring our label maker with us. We type in the label. We print it out.
The madness.
We don't have to come back.
Organizational madness. I can't take it. Okay. That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay. Those are really good practical tips because they are super high ROI. It does make you feel calm. I love that they're clear bins and you can see it because it just, all the chaos, it just eliminates it. Boom. And you know exactly what's going on.
Some people like opaque bins where, in a garage, you've got a lot of different varieties of categories and you want to like cut down on the visual clutter. So you could do those solid totes from Costco. They're really great. They're big black totes with like a colored lid, as long as you label very clearly what is in them. So multiple labels on the same bin on the outside, because they're quite large. They're heavy to get down. You want to make sure that you can just see at a glance what's in there.
Can you give me a basic budget? So let's say that it's just a 2,000 square foot bungalow. They've been there for 6 years and they are just starting and they're going to start with, I want the bins piece. So let's assume that they've already decluttered and then they're organizing. So how many bins, what kind of bin budget should they have? Oh, we lost you, girl. Are you still there? Christa, where'd you go?
Okay, are you back?
Yeah, I got you. I was like, Christa. All right. Okay, so what kind of bin budget should they have?
Okay, so obviously it's going to depend on the amount of items that you keep versus donate.
Got it.
And I would like to say, if you are working in a garage, have a budget of about $250 to $400 just for bins and shelving, if you don't already have any. A lot of times our clients already have bins. It's just full of stuff that they're not even using and don't even know what's in there. So when we go in there and we sort through your bins and help you declutter and get rid of things you aren't needing, then we can reuse the bins you already have. And I think that's the thing to remember. In the pantry, we can use anywhere from $200 to $500 worth of product. If you're wanting, you know, iDesign or home edit, fancy, clear stuff, then recanting all of your products. But oftentimes we can go to Dollarama and purchase like $50 worth of organizing supplies and do your entire bathroom. You know, so if it's just a drawer divider that's sitting in the drawer and it's not getting a lot of use and it's not being pulled and handled a lot, you can purchase from Dollarama for more affordable products. But if you're using the bin a lot, it's in and off the shelf, you need the handles, or you're pulling things off your pantry shelf and you're grabbing the handle, make sure you buy good quality products. That's going to increase your budget a bit. But I do like to say, you know, budget for about $200 worth of products. If you don't already own any, you already do. Trust me, go to your basement, go to your garage, you already own bins.
I've got them now. I can see them. I'm like mentally filtering it right now in my own garage. Okay, those are super useful because I think that's actionable. It gives people like a budget. Where do they go? How much will it cost? And where do they start? So that's perfect.
Yeah.
So you've talked a lot about, because you've also got a coaching background. So you've mentioned emotions quite a bit. Like, I get overwhelmed, I'm procrastinating. It's difficult to let go of this house, right? I mean, I had sellers that were ready to go earlier this year, and then I got an email and they're like, Leanna, I'm just not ready.
Yep.
Right? So tell me more about the mindset. Decluttering can be emotional.
It really is. It is every single time we work with a client. And that's, you know, it's hard to even show us your space because you're feeling embarrassed or ashamed. And, you know, that's a lot of times where you don't want to open that shit closet of shame, the Monica closet of shame, right? Where everything's been shoved in there because, like, oh my God, don't see it. Don't look at that. And even for yourself, subconsciously, that's weighing on you. You know, that's there. You know, you want to deal with that. You know, that would make you feel better to do it. But it is very exhausting, not just physically, but emotionally, to go through everything. So it's good to acknowledge that and say, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one that feels this way. Like, there's a lot of people that feel this way. I mean, I have a business because a lot of people are embarrassed, they're ashamed, they're overwhelmed, they're tired, they feel guilty, or they feel grief and loss, and it is just too much to do on their own. And so it's like having that coach to come in and help you through the emotional processing and through the verbal processing of all of the stories and the attachments and why you bought it and why you've held on to it.
Right.
Physically help you do the thing. So you can just sit and focus all your time, attention, and energy on, do I want to keep this? Do I want to let this go?
Right.
Why? And so the coach can help do all the other aspects of it physically and planning and shopping and removing the donations. And you can just focus on keep or go. And it's hard to do it all on your own. And it takes a lot of time. It takes more time than you think it's going to take. And it's tiring. It's tiring. So
who do you, in terms of the donating piece, what's the easiest way for people to move forward with? So they go and they start to go do the questions that you had. Do I want to keep this? Do I not want to keep this, and why? Right? So they decide that here's the stuff I've put in the garage that I don't want to keep. What's the easiest next step for them to get rid of it? Who takes it?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you've already got a pile, and a lot of people do, they have that pile that's like, that needs to leave the house, that needs to go to the donation center, but it's just, you're letting go of it when you load it into your truck. And then you're driving to donation center and you're letting go of it again when you're unloading it. So you're letting go of it 3 times. When you put it in the box, when you put it in the car, and when you put it at the donation center, people forget that you're doing the hardest part of letting go like 3 times. And so that's why oftentimes it doesn't make it into the car because that's, you know, heading towards the final step of never seeing it again. And so have somebody come and pick it up, like Find or Restore or the diabetes center, you know, I mean, call me and we'll send one of our girls to come and load it up, and we'll just charge you for the time it takes for us to drive there, load it up and drive to the center. And if you haven't had a chance to go through the space and decide what's donate, then you definitely need us. But in regards to like already having stuff that needs to be donated set aside, you can just call those donation centers and they'll come pick it up.
Are there any rules around what they will and will not take?
Yes, you have to check their website. You oftentimes Restore will have you upload photos to their website. Find oftentimes doesn't want items from places that have pets because of pet hair and allergens, but they will sometimes make exceptions. The diabetes center, will like to take clothes, things like that. So just check their website and see what is acceptable to donate, and give them a call, or give them a call, and they'll tell you what they can take and not take if you don't
That's
like.
great. Thanks, girl. So those are some really, really actionable steps. So where to start, like kitchens, master bedrooms. We talked about the garages in terms of when. So this, if it's a seller that's watching this, which it will be, we're going to put things in the garage and in those kind of less visible places, just for ease, for photos and things like that. But then there will be another step once we get to the point of showings, if indeed we can move that forward. And then just some easy actionable tips, like the entryways. I 100% agree with those. Like, it's such an easy first win. Where to go to bins, $250 to $400 at Canadian Tire. And there's also other options with the dollar store, like you said. And just don't underestimate that it can be an emotional process, because you're going to have stuff from your kid when they were 3. And
or you that your mom gave you when you were 3, and she uploaded that stuff to you,
And you're like, this has been sitting in a bin I haven't saw for 7 years. Why do I still have this? Oh, but I don't want to let it go. Right? Like, yes. All right. Well, you are definitely pro at what you do. So you have, everybody, Christa is going to give you all $50 off of the first in-home visit. Am I right?
Yeah. So our first in-home session with our team is usually 6 hours, and you can have 1 or more organizers on site. And, it scales up in price, but we'd love to give you a $50 discount on your first session with us when you mention Leanna in the booking form. Just go to our website, book an assessment call. It's a free assessment. So you can show us around on Zoom. We can see all your spaces. And then, because you mentioned Leanna in that booking form, we'll give you $50 off of your first session when you book with us.
Awesome. So Christa, you've been a pro all day long. Everybody, you guys can click the link to her website below. It's rosecityprofessionalorganizing.com. You've been a pleasure. And I will see you perhaps at the next listing, Christa.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.